October 20th, we're down here on Area 52 and it is crazy warm today. Not exactly ideal hunting conditions, but we are entering the end of October right now. I know that everyone talks about that October lull period, or even coming into the pre-rut stage. With how bad the weather's been here recently, it seems like there has been a few individuals having some good hunts. I mean, shoot, even just on Friday night, Mike Reed had a great encounter and ended up having some success with one of his target bucks on the river farm. So that's great to be able to have that success during this stage of the season where honestly the weather's been terrible. I mean, just flat out say it. We've been fortunate the last several years to have some of the best hunting in October that we've had. Where I remember last October, we had a lot of extended period times in the 30s, and so we're just not having that this year. It's hot, it's dry, there's no any amount of precipitation in the forecast at all right now. So trying to take advantage of this time right now, and we're going to hang a few tree stands today, get some permanent sets up here down at Area 52, so hopefully we're ready once the weather does turn. We're not having to do as many hanging hunts. Looking forward to getting some of this stuff done, and then maybe getting in the tree stand later this week if we get some cooler temps. Here we go. Well, we were just getting back here. This is far west side of Area 52 right now. Back in the timber, this is definitely a rut, pre-rut set back in here. One thing that Area 52 is not short of is there's a ton of big timber tracks down in this area. So the later on in the season we get, typically the better Area 52 gets when it comes down to it, because there's just so many does down in here where there's a ton of cover and they're having to work harder later on in the rut. So this has been a spot where I've done a lot of hanging hunts in the past. Not really in this specific spot, but this is a good example of right here. If I would have been back in here, I could have killed T-Bone, definitely earlier on in the season, because I've always run a trail camera back in here, and he was really frequent on this side of the farm coming through this area. It seems like it's relatively predictable because there's a fence gap here where they want to come through this fence gap. There's a bunch of white oaks back behind me. Definitely no shortage of trees to pick from. I think the biggest thing is I need to be nitpicky on what my wind's gonna do. So theoretically, you're gonna be hunting a lot of northwest winds in this spot. I do have this trail system that I manage that goes back into the timber. I wanna make sure that if they do walk that actual trail system, they're not gonna get downwind of us the whole time, because I've kind of created the path of least resistance for them. So I think I'm gonna go with this white oak right behind me. I like where it sits. It's got a ton of cover. I worry that if I get a little bit farther back, which there's some good trees back behind me too, that would probably be a little bit better for the wind. But I worry that if I go farther back, I'm gonna watch all these deer, walk along the fence row, and then, even that fence gap that I just referred to, they're just gonna walk that the whole time, and I'm gonna watch them just outside of bow range. So I think this is gonna be the spot. Be really good on a thermal morning when it's rising. And then also if I have a good northwest wind, I think anything that walks this path, we're just gonna blow it right over top of them. I've had really good success with that. And I think that that's something to think about too when you're setting up these stands. If you do have any of these trail systems, if you have sustained wind gust and you can blow over top of them, that can be something that's super effective as far as like adjusting which tree stand you're gonna hunt from. You can always blow that wind over top of them as long as it's a sustained 10+ mile-an-hour wind. A lot of times you can just carry that right over top of them. this might seem a little unconventional what we're doing right now, but we're going to that stand. I never really had a name for it, but this is that same one that Dave and I hunted the other night, that we had all those does out in front of us, and I've had some good encounters here in the past, and we're gonna hang a permanent set so we don't have to hang and hunt there. But the least intrusive we can actually be, in my opinion. They're accustomed to the farm equipment coming down here. You know, they just picked the beans the other day. We're gonna drive right up to the base of this tree, and it's right along the alfalfa, and that's gonna be a heck of a lot less intrusive. They're used to vehicles coming in and out of it. We're gonna park legitimately 10 yards from where that tree is, hop out real quick, not be afraid of making noise. We can slam doors, do that type of stuff. I'm not trying to scare away the deer, but they're used to that stuff coming in and out of that with the farmer, you know, being down here, and the agricultural side of this. So we're gonna get this stand hung real quick. I actually trimmed a few of the branches when I was down here the other night working on a few trail camera projects. So we're gonna make this hopefully a quick hang and then move on to the next item. Done. All right, I'm just finishing up, putting up a vine scrape. There's actually already a scrape established in this location, so I'm really just trying to spruce it up and making it that much better. But one of the things I think we need to be mindful of, especially as we get to the end of October here, is that if you have trail cameras that aren't working for you, don't be afraid. On a day like today, it's windy, hot, humid conditions, you know, so I don't really feel like I'm giving up too much for, you know, not hunting this afternoon. But when you have opportunities when you could take calculated risk, come in here, don't be afraid to move your trail cameras, because the reason why I'm moving this one is that I had it, you know, probably 100 yards from where we're at, and it was only taking a few photos every 2 or 3 days. So it just doesn't make sense to have it in a spot like that where it's not working for me, because I want them to be working for me, especially leading to this time of the year where we're establishing that hit list, monitoring these different points. And right now, if you don't have your cameras on scrapes or on really good pinch points, that's where they need to be, especially this time of the year. So we're wrapping up this trip down to Area 52. Got a lot of stuff done today. Always fun to be down at Area 52, but I'm not gonna lie, with how bad the bugs are, I'm also ready to leave Area 52. So here we go, let's get the heck out of here. I mean, the odds of him coming to pick this corn tonight is probably pretty minimal, right?
I would say so.
Please not tonight, but tomorrow we can do it. I want to get it out of here. It'll make the hunting better. October 24th. Here we go. Just getting down to Area 52, just a little after 3:30 right now. Gosh, I can't believe how early we are today. First time we've been on time all season. Maybe that'll be the magic sauce for tonight. Give us some new luck. But southeast wind tonight. It's a high in mid 60s today, so still a little cooler. Definitely better conditions than we've had. Yesterday was really good, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get out. I had some personal stuff I was dealing with yesterday. But Dave and I are headed to that pond set. Excited to get out tonight. It's that southeast wind. I think a lot of times it'll bring in different fronts, right? So there's a thunderstorm down to the south right now, and I was looking at the Onyx weather there for a little bit to see what it was going to do, and it looks like it's actually going to split and go around us. But the wind and the conditions are telling me to go to the pond, but also Sqaush was on that camera quite a bit last night. He's been pretty frequent in that area, and last night it looked like he was almost bumping some does around that clover, so I think that this is probably the best spot to have an encounter with him tonight. He's one that I'm really looking forward to seeing on the hoof, so maybe he'll make an appearance tonight. It's right at 4:30 and we are officially set up and we are hunting. This is just such a cool spot. I just love it. I can't get enough of this stuff. We're seeing the pond here and seeing the activity on camera and spending time down here in Area 52. I mean, I can't put words to that, but it's just something that I just absolutely love this time of the year, just being down here and spending time on the farm. But one thing we noticed right away when we came in is that the clover, since we got a little shot of rain, I mean maybe a quarter an inch, maybe a half inch down here, it really greened up nicely. We've had some cooler temps at night, and it's pretty gusty right now. It's only supposed to be 15 mile an hour wind gusts, but I would say it's getting up to 20, 25 mile an hour wind gusts right now. But just love how it's setting up. Southeast wind right in our face, going back to our ditch off to our northwest, just sucking it right down there. It's supposed to calm down a little bit before dark tonight, so we'll definitely play the thermal game, I'm sure, at the end of the night tonight. But I didn't really think about it until I got to the stand and I started to see all the fall colors and how much things are changing. But the hat I'm wearing tonight, it's got kind of a squash theme to it. It's got the butternut squash kind of look to it. So we're in early tonight, got the squash hat on. Maybe it just has that theme going on tonight. But I'm really hoping we can just see a little bit of pre-rut activity going on. Maybe get a buck out here and check some does. If nothing else, it's always fun to spend some time down here in Area 52. There's a small buck with them too. Right at 5:45 right now. Hadn't been a whole lot going on there for a little while. I don't know if it was just because of those two fronts that split off, if we're seeing a little bit of that, but it's definitely windier than what they forecasted. I've gone to Onyx a few times to see if they're changing the forecast. Maybe that front's coming in for later tonight. We're forecasted to get some rain. But there's been times where it's been 25, maybe plus mile an hour winds. And anytime it gets to be that high, in my experience, a lot of times the deer movement, they're going to be pretty skittish because they're kind of in the sensory overload mode where any twig or leaf that's going on, I mean, they're just hypersensitive to that type of stuff just because you got to think about it. They have a heightened sense of smell and a heightened sense of hearing that really just overloads their senses when it's like that. But I'm thinking we're going to need this wind to die down a little bit to get something to cooperate tonight. Still a lot of time left though. Well, we are just getting back to the truck now. It's right at 7:30. Ended up being in the tree a little bit longer into dark, but it was for good reasoning. I saw a mature buck coming across the field, and I wasn't sure if it was Sqaush right away. And even as we were walking out tonight, I was like confirming with Dave, that was Sqaush, right? Like, and it was definitely him. I mean, there were a few glimpses that I got where you could see that protruding forehead that he has going on, and you know, he worked his way all the way across the field and bumped off a little doe, or a little buck, I should say. And it's just cool to see that type of behavior. You know, every deer in that field knew tonight that Sqaush was the top dog. So he postured up a few times, and he even ran at a couple does and just checking them. So fun hunt tonight, fun to see him on the hoof, and it just feels like the hunting's just going to continue to get better and better. And this weekend I think we're gonna definitely come out and hunt some morning hunts too. So hunting is just starting to kick off here in southern Iowa, and looking forward to what this next chapter is going to bring. This is the equivalent of a 180-inch toad right here.